Every year, 49ers of past and present gather in the name of former 49er legend Dwight Clark to raise money for the Golden Heart Fund. The proceeds support former 49er players who are navigating the challenges that come after football.
I love what the team is doing with the Golden Helmet Fund. I mean, just taking care of their family.
How you doing? See you, brother. Good to see you.
This year, 4 49er quarterbacks spanning more than 4 decades sat down to discuss the different aspects of their careers.
Saw my mom and...
Need it?
Give me your jacket, yeah.
Seriously?
No, you're fine. I look like a doof.
You look great.
You're good, man.
I don't think it'll fit, though.
It's going to fit perfectly.
You're straight out of, it's one of those catalogs. Oh, straight out of
good.
like the young gentleman. Bro.
Welcome to NFL Films Presents.
7-time Pro Bowl selection, 3-time All-Pro, it's Steve Young. 4-time Pro Bowl player, including 3 consecutive Pro Bowls with the 49ers, Jeff Garcia.
What's up, people? The faithful.
We also have the #1 overall pick of the 2005 NFL Draft, Alex Smith. And this next man set the franchise record with 4,280 yards passing in a single season. Sorry, Jeff.
Still got him by the total yards.
He set the team record for passer rating at 113. Sorry, Steve.
Well, did you hear him? Hold on. He said, there's the bulldog on the pant leg of life right here. He says, yeah, I still got him by total yards.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brock Purdy. Each of these men got to the NFL in different ways. They overcame different obstacles to get here. And Steve, I'm going to start with you. When you look at this group here in front of you, what do you see?
I see warriors.
Be nice. Be nice.
No, but I do. I see warriors. You're a warrior.
Thanks.
The NFL has a way of sifting any kind of, in some ways, emotional weakness that you have and forces you to the sidelines. And the people who stay on the field, by definition, not necessarily have the strongest arm or the fastest guys. It's the warriors that find their way to stay on the field.
Touchdown, Steve Young with a great effort. You know, that's not courage. That's guts.
I knew Jeff because he followed me. I know Alex for many years and got to know Brock now. Everyone has a different story, but everyone was on the field, and the fact is, to stay on for the 49ers, you're a warrior, and I'll share the stage with you guys any day, all day long.
Jeff, you did follow Steve, so here you're going to follow him again. How difficult was it to follow a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Well, absolutely. I came into the 49ers being a fan of the 49ers. The 49ers were going through 2 decades of greatness at that time, and he continuing that at that position.
Someone take the monkey off my back, please. It's gone forever.
Now, me following that, I felt like there were some big shoes to fill, obviously. And I thought coming into the 49er organization, I'd have a great opportunity to learn from one of the best to play the game. And that first year was a struggle.
Easy pick that could be a touchdown. And I believe that's the 3rd interception of the day on Garcia.
The grit and the tenacity that you have to have, it's represented in a different way being the quarterback. We don't get to go out and hit people, but you still have a certain toughness physically and mentally to you that allows you or forces you to exceed what anybody else's expectations are of you. That being said, it was a great honor for me to be a part of the 49er organization, a dream come true, and to follow one of my idols like Steve Young.
There had never been a franchise to have a Joe and Steve. Like that had never happened, you know. And then you throw we just heard Jeff set the franchise record for yards, right? Like so, he had carried it on, and all of a sudden to be the #1 pick, and as a 20-year-old, those were things that I had never dealt with. I had been flying under the radar my entire life, and now all of a sudden, I felt like I had to be Joe Montana, Steve Young, and Peyton Manning, and I struggled with that my first few years. Kind of became my own worst enemy. As anybody can imagine, you try to do anything, let alone play quarterback as a rookie or a young player. That's certainly a recipe for a disaster. I struggled with it for several years before I kind of found my way out of it, thankful to certainly some teammates and coaches.
Alex Smith is growing up in front of our eyes.
Brock, your situation, very unique in its own way. You know, the last pick in the draft. Did it feel like it happened that quickly? And what was your mindset when they told you?
Jimmy Garoppolo's headed for the locker room.
Wow. So here comes Brock Purdy. He wore number 14 in the preseason. Now he's number 13, and he was number 262, the last pick of the draft. He's very relevant now.
I would say when I got thrown in, at that point, man, we were winning, and all that was on my mind was, how can I continue to keep this thing going? How can I continue to do my part to get our team to a Super Bowl and win? And I think going into my second year is when, the thoughts of, man, I'm, starting for the San Francisco 49ers, and then you got, the standard that Joe and Steve had set and all these guys up here. And I think that's when, those thoughts start rolling in of, okay, there's a standard here, and I have to, live up to that standard.
Brock Purdy's going to his first Super Bowl.
What was more difficult, just going in cold off the sideline after Jimmy got injured, or now a full week and the entire storyline is your first start is going to be against Tom Brady's team?
Man, honestly, yeah, that week of preparation was probably worse. The next thing you know, you got Tom Brady rolling in town.
The great Tom Brady going up against a guy making his first ever NFL start.
My family, you guys have probably all heard the story. They already booked their tickets before the season even started to come to this game to watch Tom. And so, anyways, yeah, all of that put together.
Making his first ever NFL start, Brock Purdy, under center.
For me, it was, I get one opportunity here. Let's see what we can do with it. And, was I playing against Tom Brady and all that kind of thing? Yes, his team, but it was the Bucs defense. That's what I was going up against, and that's where my mindset was at once the game started. And then obviously we rolled. We didn't look back.
Brock Purdy is the real deal.
Good play, my man. You played great. Keep it up. Keep going. All right.
Steve and Jeff, you guys had to wait a few years after college before becoming full-time NFL starting quarterbacks. Steve, when you were traded from Tampa Bay to the 49ers, did you know that you'd be backing up Joe Montana as long as you ended up backing him up?
Let's dive into this.
Let's dive in.
Let's hash this up.
All I remember, and sweet Bill Walsh has passed away, so he can't refute this. He's a great man, and everybody said he was a genius. He was. He was all of that and more. And so much of the league, and especially the 49ers, are built off the back of what Bill did. And when he offered the chance to come, he told me that Joe had 2 back surgeries, and had just had the last one, a week ago. It was in the off season. And I said, well, I'm not happy to hear that. That's a terrible thing. But if there's an opportunity like that, I'll take it. I'd love to jump in. And so I jumped in. And I just remember the first OTA practice or the, training camp practice. I'd never met Joe in my whole life, and obviously admired everything he'd done. And so, right, the last guy comes running out, the practice is about to start, and Joe comes running out, and the first thing I think is, he doesn't look hurt. I turned to Coach Bill, and I'm like, Bill, he's not hurt. And he did this to me many times through the years, but he went just and he's famous for this, So it was a mess. There's a mess and it stayed a mess for a long time.
What comes to your mind as the biggest obstacle that you overcame to get to where you ended up getting?
Myself. I think just proving that I was worthy. Just not worrying about when the opportunity would present itself, but taking advantage of the opportunity that I have right now. How can I be the best player for this team in this moment? You know, I went through a difficult first 5 starts after Steve went down, and it was a man, our quarterback coach, God rest his soul, Greg Knapp, who pulled me aside after they benched me for 2 games. And he had put together a list of plays, probably 50 plays. He goes, I want you to sit down and watch. These are 50 plays from your first 5 games. These are successful plays. These are plays where you made the right decision. You made a good throw. You did something positive. You need to remind yourself that you're here for a reason, that you belong here. Because honestly, there was doubt. I mean, when you're the guy that everybody looks at as the major change from the guy who preceded you, and those teams were championship caliber teams, and now all of a sudden the team is struggling, they're losing games. Well, what's the difference? Well, it's the quarterback. It's not Steve Young, it's not Joe, it's this guy Jeff. And the next 5 games, even though the outcome wasn't any different, the production was different. The confidence was different. How I stepped into the huddle became different.
We're in a hole, lots of time left, 1 play at a time, execute, just do what we need to do. It's no big deal right now.
And that led to the next year being a record-setting year, a Pro Bowl year. But yet we still struggled as a team. We were going through growing pains. But I had turned the corner and found a way to prepare myself, to block out the noise. And finally, we did start to turn things around. We did win an NFC West division title. We did go back to the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Brock, your sample size is smaller than these guys, but you've each enjoyed playoff games, like incredible success in crazy games.
The 49ers have a monumental problem, down 24-7.
I remember the first play of the second half, threw it to Debo on a 20-yard in route, and from that moment on, I was like, okay, like, this is us. You know, we got to play like us. I remember there was one drive towards the end, I scrambled for first down, got the first, and then after that, Elijah Mitchell punched it in. Right then and there, I was like, dude, this is team football. You know, it's not just one guy putting the whole team on his back, and it takes everybody.
Ernie runs for a first down!
In that moment, I was like, this is not easy. Like, this is tough. Like, the NFL is tough. To get to the Super Bowl, to do all those things that you want to do, there's going to be those crazy, nasty wins. And so that's what comes to mind, is how tough it is, but man, is it worth it.
So proud of you. Congratulations. God bless you.
Let's go with Jeff, because that game was similar to that game against the Giants that you guys were down, what was it, 34 to...
38
to 14.
Yeah.
38 to 14.
It was yesterday. I mean, you know, we went into the 2-minute offense, no huddle offense, and we started to click.
They have a 3rd down and 4 at the 26-yard line of the Giants. They trail 38 to 14, so they've got a lot to do.
Put a drive together, finishing with Tio on a shallow cross. He breaks a tackle. He gets into the end zone. We cap it with a 2-point conversion. Now we're down 16 with an entire quarter to play still.
This game is not over yet.
We got the ball back. I remember hitting Eric Johnson on a dragon. He catches in the flat, he turns up the sideline.
They've really got some momentum developing now.
We followed it with 90 QB, little trap faked to the back going inside, and I took it around the edge.
Bootleg by Garcia. He only needs a block to go in from Stokes. He's in. Touchdown 49ers. How about this?
It was one of the greatest experiences in my life, and I wish I could bottle up and keep it with me forever. You know, we get the ball back with a few minutes left, and people are trying to come back into the stands. First of all, whoever left, shame on you. Shame on you.
Have you ever thought about being a preacher? Just saying.
We put a drive together. We got in the end zone again.
Jeff Garcia just threw the perfect pass. What a comeback.
And here we are now, up a point. They get the ball down the field. Obviously, we all know what happened next.
Wow, what a day. 39-38, 49ers. And here we go. Ready for the snap by Junkin. Here it comes. It's another bad snap. And now they're going to have to try to throw for it. He's going to throw it into the end zone. There's a giant there. It's incomplete. Game is over. Game is over. 49ers win.
Obviously, the biggest comeback in 49er playoff history.
At the end of that game, I mean, the feeling in that locker room was just awesome. You know, it was one of those experiences that, you know, it will live with me, it will live with that team, it will live with us forever.
We're down 24 points. Man, that was the second greatest comeback in NFL history. You guys showed the world, the whole world, what kind of character you have. Everybody in here, man. Awesome. Awesome.
You know, it's too bad, Brock, as much as Levi is a beautiful stadium, that you didn't get to experience Candlestick because, you know, I think the lore...
Candlestick breathed. You could feel it. It would like
lore,
pulse.
the history.
You could see the whole thing kind of move with you. High tide, it smelled.
Yes. Oh.
It was like seeping down on you. It was all us, baby.
It was awesome.
It took me several years to like develop this pride for Candlestick because a lot of years I'm like, it's wet again. Why is it raining again? You know. And anyway, but then you would look across the way at the other quarterbacks, and it was like it would play head games with them. And one of the guys it would mess with the most was Drew Brees. And we happened to get him. We were both 13-3. We got the home game though because of the tiebreaker. They were like complaining about it. They just won a Super Bowl. One of the most prolific offenses in the history of football. You know, we're no match for them. I'm a game manager. We're running the ball, and it just like it very much. We didn't have a chance. We jumped up on them.
Alex takes the ball, throws the quick slant. Caught! Crabtree! Touchdown 49ers! And Smith looking like Drew Brees here in the early going.
I think it was certainly a moment for all of us to kind of come together and obviously to win it like that.
Do you believe it? The play of dreams! Smith standing in, throws a middle ball. Vernon Davis has it! He's running down the far side, still going to the 40, to the 30, and Vernon is inside the 20, 31 seconds, and the 49ers have a chance to go for it all.
There's no greater feeling, I think, for an NFL quarterback to stand in the pocket and to deliver a ball and to be accountable to the 10 other guys on your team and to make that play.
Alex looking, got it, post, and it's good! Touchdown! Touchdown 49ers! Alex Smith with the play of his life!
It's the image every time I'm driving by Candlestick Park now, and the sign still says Candlestick Park. I got my kids in the car. They're very tired of this every time we drive by. That's the game certainly because I can't get it out of my head how electric it was to be a part of that. So could only imagine what Steve's memories embody of that place.
Well, you think about 49er history and playing the Cowboys, how really it was the two of us for the whole league. Like we knew it from the first day of training camp, and it was just going to be a matter of who beat who in the championship game. Having them in that wet, soggy, I remember they were warming up in Troy, and it was like, what is this field, And I'm like, what's the matter, bro? It feels good to me, And it set up the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowls are, you can't imagine what's on the line, and Brock just got done with being in the middle of one. I just remember Mike Shanahan was my offensive coordinator. I called him, Mike, let's go over it against Shanahan. Finally, I was like, Mike, I can't go over it again, And he goes, we don't need to go over it again. You're going to throw 8 touchdowns. And I'm like, That's just, why are you saying that? That's stupid. He goes, I'm serious. He goes, this is a game, Steve. I'm going to call it to do it. And so I remember coming in at halftime, we'd thrown 4. And he looked at me dead in the eye and said, I told you.
Steve Young is now #1 all-time with 6 touchdown passes.
So we ended up with 6, and I came out of the game because we had the lead, and I went over to the phone to call him and say, Mike, you know, Super Bowl champs is amazing. You know, Mike, how do you feel? Thanks so much for an amazing year. He's like, get back in the game. You gotta, there's 2 more. I told you there's 2 more. Tell George that we're not done. We're not done yet. I don't care what the score is. We're not done. He was like livid. You know, and I go over to George, and I'm like, George, Mike says we got 2 more to go. Hey, get. And George like, what? Tell him he's crazy. You know, we're not going to do that. So it's funny to me, because you think about 6 touchdowns, which is kind of unusual.
Kinda.
Yeah. But if you ever say, well, how do you throw 6 touchdowns? Go for 8. There's a beauty to how the 49ers are doing it right now. We'll be right there every year. I just really believe that. Brock's now our leader, and it's just a fun time to be a 49er fan. It's super fun.